Hello, welcome back to another self-taught Japanese in Rosetta Stone. I'm Spike, and here we are back after my lunch break. For those who watched the previous live stream or have watched the last video upload on YouTube in the series, video number 108. This is video 109. This is now going to be the module review section here in the program. As promised, to try and keep it in on the same day, on the Friday of this week, which is 6th of February, for anyone who's interested, who's watching this at a later date, here in 2026. So usually these reviews are a combination of all of the techniques in the previous modules. If I use the mouse rather than just whoop with my finger across the screen that you guys can see a capture of. But yeah, usually it encompasses most of the bits from core lesson 1 and then a piece from each one of these modules. It's usually what's in the review per slide. Now, it says it's only going to take 5 minutes, so I'm hoping that it is quite a swift review. That will set me up ready for core lesson 2, which I'll begin on Monday after this weekend. Yeah, just give you an idea. Or give me an idea what to expect in the coming sessions, particularly with regards to the ramping up of difficulty and how it's going to quote unquote test me as I move through learning this language. So, without further ado, let's crack on with that. And we get the microphone section set up. No, because it's already set up.
彼女は薬屋で薬を売っています。
So here we go. We're going to get this going. So Kusuria we know is medications. So we're going to be talking about the pharmacy picture here. This is just going to be a listening technique.
彼は本屋で本を買っています。
Hon, yeah, we know is bookstore, and Hon is books. So I'm going to go with the one in the corner.
私たちは宝石店で宝石を売っています。
Hosaki is jewelry or jewelry store. And, you know, it's going to be these two.
私は金物屋ではしごを買っています。
Actually, a profession per stream for self-taught Japanese. And Kanamono is hardware store. Tools. There we go. So here we am in the first slide. Out of only the 8 in this review, that's good. That they are all locked, so it is a once and done. If I want to repeat any, I have to repeat the whole thing. So here we have Kanojo wa kusuri de kusuri o utemasu. And then we got Kara wa honya de hon o kattemasu. Moving on to Watashi wa kanamono mono de hashigo o kattemasu. Don't know why I struggled to say that because I said it right at the start. Watashi tachi wa hoskitan de hoski o utemasu. So again, she is buying drugs from the drugstore. He's buying books from the bookstore. I'm buying tools from. I'm buying a ladder from the tool store or the hardware store. And we, watashi tachi, plural of I, in polite form, and she's speaking. So watashi tachi wa hoskiten de hoski. I'm buying jewelry from the jewelry store. Nice. So let's move on to the next slide. This is not a bad review to start with. Here we go.
女の人は宝石が欲しいです。
She's looking at the jewelry in the jewelry store.
犬は肉が欲しいです。
And we're talking about the dog who's after them steaks.
男の子はおもちゃが欲しいです。
I'm talking about the boy and or the young boy and the toy.
女の子はチョコレートが欲しいです。
And we were on about the little girl and the chocolate. Here we go. So those slides were Onnanoko wa chokoreto ga hoshii desu. For the girl wants the chocolate or has the chocolate. Then we've got the next one, easy. Inu, dog. Inu wa niku ga hoshii desu. So niku is meat, and he's after the meat. Onna no shito wa hoski ga goshi. Oh, let's start that again. That was a tongue twister. Onna no shito wa hoski ga hoshii desu. So the older lady she wants the jewelry in the store. Oto konoko wa omocha ga hoshii desu. A little boy wants the toy. Because omocha is toy. Again, apologies for the yawns. I have almost finished my can of Monster as part of my lunch, and I'm still apparently yawning. Yeah, that's so good, right? Slide 3.
私はを持
Uh,
っています。
now, do we reckon she's on about ticket, chiquetto, or sunglasses, which is sunglasses? Let's go for the sunglasses, shall we? Oh, we're correct.
私はサングラスを持っています。
Awesome.
私はサングラスが
irimasu.
私は
'Cause
サ
she
ングラ
doesn't
ス
have
が
them.
いります。
あなたはを
Uh,
持っています。
chiquetto wa motteimasu, because she does. She has a ticket there.
あなたはチケットを持っています。チケットが
irimasu. Yeah,
チ
irimasu.
ケットがいりますか？
Do you have a ticket? So yeah, watashi wa sunglasses wa motteimasu. I have my sunglasses. Or these are my sunglasses. Watashi wa sunglasses wa irimasu. I do not have sunglasses. I don't have my sunglasses. Anata wa chiketto wa motteimasu. Do you have a ticket? Or do you have your ticket? And then chiketto ni wa irimasu ka? You don't. Do you have a ticket? Sorry, it's a question. Irimasu ka? Do you have your ticket? And yeah, so that's slide 3. That's relatively swift and easy. Let's go to slide 4, halfway
彼
through.
らはスーパーで買い物をしています。
So we're talking about these two because we're immediately starting with the plural, karerawa. And then super, who else is at a supermarket? Neither of these two. It's got to be these guys.
彼は宝石店で買い物をしています。
There we go. We're on about male again because we're using karewa. And hoskiten is obviously jewelry store. He's on about jewelry.
彼女は金物屋で買い物をしています。
There we go. So we're on about the lady, kanojoa, and she's looking up tools, kanamono, yeah. So here, there we go. That's all we need to know which one of the slides it is, but then also take in the context of the sentence. So here we are. Karara wa super de kaimono o shiteimasu. So they're at the supermarket buying food. Kanojo wa kanamono ya de kaimono o shiteimasu. She's buying, she's purchasing tools from the tool store, or she's shopping in the tool store. Kare wa hosketen de kaimono o shiteimasu. And he is buying, or he's shopping for jewelry, which is what it is. They're shopping in the supermarket, she's shopping in the hardware store, he's shopping in the jewelry store. There we go. Let's leave him on the screen for a second or two, give enough time for the slides in case anyone wants to rewind and check this stuff out. Let's go to the next one.
鍵がいりますか？
はい、鍵がいります。
お金がいりますか？
Hi, okane ga irimasu.
はい、お金がいります。
There we go. It's just giving us a quick test to speak on our own, with reference panes at the top and then our subject panes at the bottom. So, kage ga arimasu ka? Would you like the keys? Do you want the keys? Hi, kage ga arimasu. Yes, I'd like the keys. Then the one that we were answering on is okane ga irimasu ka? And then it's giving us the one that we need to actually speak ourselves. The response being after, do you want some money or do you have money? No, do you want some money? Would be yes, hi, and then okane ga irimasu. I would like some money. Or I want money. Let's go next.
彼はケーキが欲しいですが、いりません。
Immediately we know we're on about cake.
彼は薬がいりますが、欲しくありません。
And then there we go, we're on about medicine, because kusuri is medicine or drugs.
彼女はメガネがいりますが、欲しくありません。
We're on about a lady in glasses. Mingane wa. So we'll go for,
彼女は宝石が欲しいですが、いりません。
There we go, we're on about another lady with some jewelry. There we go. So here we have, kanojo wa hosuki ga hoshii desu ka? Irimasen. she wants jewelry but doesn't need jewelry. 彼はケーキが欲しいですがいらません。He wants cake but what was it? He wants cake but doesn't need. That's it. Doesn't need cake. 彼女はメガネがいりますが欲しくありません。She doesn't have glasses but needs glasses. And then 彼は薬がいりますが欲しくありません。He has medicine but isn't taking the medicine or doesn't like the medicine, as can be seen in the picture. Because he's being given medicine but he doesn't want it. So he needs medicine but doesn't want medicine. She needs glasses but doesn't want glasses. He wants cake but doesn't need cake, and then she wants jewelry but doesn't need jewelry. So that's the context and the grammatical sense of those sentences, if I get them the right way around. Just trying to remember from the translation searching that I did of one of these sentences, was it yesterday or the day before, which again, it was on the cake, I think, slides to figure out he wants this but doesn't need this, and they need this but don't want this. And you can see the difference in the sentence structure of what changes when they are pretty similar. Hoshi changes to be after the apostrophe of the first section of the sentence in opposition to the negative. And then vice versa when we get down to the slides underneath. Let's go move on.
古い電話、
古い電話 is an old phone.
新しい電話、
That's a new phone.
新しいテレビ、
New television.
古いテレビ、
Old television. There we go. So furui for old. Denwa phone. Atarashi new. Terebi television. Atarashi denwa new telephone or new phone. And then furui terebi. Furui being old. Terebi being television. So old television. It's not too difficult, Japanese. Once you've learned some individual words, worked your way through some exercises, and then got how the grammatical structure of a sentence gets constructed, how its structure works, it's like any other language that you learn. It can become quite easy with regards to context and tenses and so on and so forth. It just becomes about nuance. And as mentioned before, in the speaking portion of the Japanese language, all it becomes... It's not just about the nuance, it's about the cadence, the rise and the fall, which is why they have similar sounding words to us that have totally different kanji or hiragana or whatever, and you only have to mispronounce or shift where the syllable in the words comes, the focal syllable in a word comes, where if you don't tense it properly, or in the right direction, up or down, like we would for a question or an exclamation, or a statement, etc., it completely changes that word. Which is why people go, oh, you got a double meaning for like candy and rain, or sweets and rain. And it's like, no, you say the same word, but you raise the end up rather than drop the middle. Or you raise the middle and drop to the end rather than going through to raise and drop the end. You get what I'm saying. That's where the nuance of Japanese language comes from, is how these things are said and presented, which completely changes the word that's being used and therefore the context of the sentence. Just something to bear in mind. Let's do this
す
final
みません。
sentence.
私は薬がいります。はどこですか？
Well, it's going to be kusuriya because we're on about kusuri, which is the
すみ
pharmacy,
ま
the
せん。
drugs.
私は薬がいります。薬屋はどこですか？
So
は病院
it's going to be kusuriya.
薬屋は病院の近くにあります。
すみません。私は本が欲しいです。
Honya.
すみませ
There
ん。
we go.
私は本が欲しいです。本屋はどこですか？
本屋は公園の近く。
Ni arimasu.
本屋は公園の近くにあります。
So on this final slide for the review, nice and easy review as well, I have to say. So I'm glad that it was a little on the short side and a little on the easy side. But here we are. Sumimasen, watashi wa kusuri ga irimasu. Kusuri wa doko desu ka? So excuse me, I need medicine. Where is the medicine store? Pharmacy. The pharmacy and hospital are nearby. You see on the map that they're nearby. So we'll move on to the next one. Sumimasen, watashi wa honya hoshi desu. Honya wa doko desu ka? So excuse me, I want to buy a book. Where's the bookstore? Honya wa koen no chikaku ni arimasu. The bookstore is near the park. There we go. And there we have it. The review is in. There was a few more points to get correct, to get wrong, etc. Which is why the review actually has 3 more answers than the previous module lesson, which was the speaking video, which is the previous video, number 108. But there we have it. Lesson 1's completed to 100%. Fantastic. Nice, short and sweet. Going to have this video under 20 minutes. That now means we are, as you can see, ready to continue to lesson 2, core lesson 1. Which, there we go. That's it. That's ready, set up for Monday. So I'm quite pleased with that. There's the review of this particular module, or at least the starting materials and starting module of. That pleases me very much. I'm glad that I'm back on track and that we can start moving forward and cracking on with the series for the rest of the year. We'll see how long the Unit 4 stuff gets. I envisage it will probably take a month or so to get through this, which isn't so bad. And then I guess I'll see if Unit 4 is where it ends or whether it continues on to Unit 5 or whether we'll be upgrading to perhaps the Level 2 stuff. I'm definitely going to get some more complexity to learning the language, or at least that's what I'm expecting. So we'll see. But anyway, that's it for this video. I don't think I have too much more to say about the review module. It is what it is. Obviously, it's just cherry picking what it's been programmed to have as the best bits of note for the review of the material that's already been done before moving on to the core lesson stuff. So again, that repetition stuff, it was a little short, it was a little easy, but I don't mind it because it is supposed to ease you into the learning and keep you on board, keep you engaged. Right, that's it from me. As usual, do the shameful plugs. If you've liked and enjoyed the material that you've seen today in any of the videos, then obviously thank you very much for joining and for tuning in. Your support and your time is very much appreciated, whether you're watching this as a viewer and playing along, learning along, or whether you're just listening in the background for something to do, something to listen to while you're doing any particular kinds of tasks. Then that's all gravy, baby, with me. If you'd like to continue showing your support, then obviously please drop a like, follow, share, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. It does help with getting tools and stuff in the algorithm for the various platforms to help give me the chance to produce better content for you moving forward. As always, if you know anyone who's interested in Japan, Japanese people, the culture, or learning this language, which is the point of this series, please share the links of my pages or these videos to that person. Get them to share them around. Anime is not always the best way to ingratiate and learn the Japanese language because they just don't speak that way in real life. Also, very much like how we would envisage our English drama shows, our comedy shows, etc. You can tell it's scripted, and by and large, for the most part, people don't speak in those scripted ways because, again, it's just a little bit too far-fetched, and it's not mechanical, but you know what I mean. It's too scripted. You can tell that people don't speak that way naturally in conversation because, again, a lot of complexity, a lot of nuance, a lot of emotional intent is removed when scripted as you're trying to tell a one-dimensional story. Even if it has 3 dimensions to that story, the whole process of delivery is one-dimensional because it's a product that's being sold to you. So again, it can be a good way of getting into learning the language, particularly through dub and subtitles and so on and so forth, to learn individual words and their potential meanings. But as by and large and as a whole, it's not a writing format that's being presented to you in a way where it's usable when speaking to natives. If you were going to go to Japan and visit, which obviously a lot of people then find out as a tourist, which then can cause some tensions or some issues of embarrassment, etc., when it comes to speaking to Japanese people, where again, by and large, they'll know you're a tourist, they'll take it in stride and either correct you and stuff, but that can be seen as rude to the person who's receiving that correction. Or alternatively, you could come across those who are quite nationalistic in their country and as a result take great offence, considering the nature of respect in Japan and Japanese culture, that you would just be seen as butchering their language, and they'd probably prefer you to just speak English and use a tourist translating book, a phrase book or whatever, because you'd then just be butchering their language with a certain type of confidence, thinking that you've learnt their language, and then voila, the revelation, you've learned it through anime. Not always the best. So again, that's what this series is for. It's to sort of highlight the pitfalls and the patterns and so on and so forth to make this not so difficult to teach yourself, even from scratch, in a very casual manner. That's what I'm trying to show here. It's not as scary a language as it looks once you notice the patterns and notice the basics of how the grammar is structured, how sentences are structured, and just how there's quite a lot of importation of English phrases or English words that get very stereotypically applied to the Japanese language, because that's how they have disseminated them into their language. So sunglasses, sungarasu, examples like that, where it's not actually a million miles away from the actual object and item. Doesn't usually apply to the person, but can apply to your name. Again, it's all how tenses work. It's the nuance of tenses and such. So there are some things you can get away with, which aren't then generally seen as a form of stereotyping with the way that Japanese people speak or Asian people speak with that particular accent when it comes to English, as seen in some of the other videos that I've made. Go check them out. But other than that, note this series is for, like I say, sharing on to those who may want to learn this language by themselves, for themselves, if they don't have the budget for going to private lessons or taking a course, or maybe you don't want to use an app or can't afford an app and it's subscription service, or perhaps the language pack, etc., etc., etc. This is currently the free resource I'm providing. I'm just documenting my journey to show that it is possible, that you can sit here in a program and just casually work your way through and notice for yourself the patterns, the recognition, the nuances that that I'm picking up and then relaying to yourselves in a manner that hopefully is easy to digest and therefore easy to learn. And that's what it's all about. So I'm hoping that transparency and honesty is coming across with regards to this material. Right. Like I say, like, follow, share, and subscribe. You can find me at twitch.tv/xofficina and youtube.com/xofficina. Like I say, like, follow, share, and subscribe. If you want to get in touch, comment down below in the videos as per usual. If not, then you can hit me up on the Discord. Again, that link is free. If you can find me on one platform, you can find me on the others. All of my pages do link to each other and my other ventures. And just looking to grow this small, humble community into something a little bit more. Again, I don't always just do Japanese. I also am aiming to stream games and so on and so forth. Would very much like to do so with some friends, some other people, etc., as well as have some come into the Discord where I can practice with you guys speaking Japanese. I think that it's incredibly important, and like I said, I've recognized my own weakness thus far in doing these videos that you can now see, and as I've highlighted in the past couple of videos, speaking is not my strong point when it comes to off the cuff speaking. Replication in this program, fantastic. I'm trying to get the nuance and the pronunciation and keep quite strict with that, which again, the program's keeping me in check by and large. However, trying to come up with ones where I don't have the prompts in the pictorials and the slides As you can see, that's where my downfall is, because I think that is, for myself, the weakest component of my Japanese learning at the moment. So I'd very much like to rectify that. So if anyone's interested in joining me on the Discord, to be able to go, yeah, sure, well, let's jump into voice chat and start going over, chucking out Japanese languages, phrases to each other and see where we're at. That would be great. That's really what I want to be aiming to do next. I think it's the part of my learning that needs to be shorn up to get to the level of all of the other bits that I've learned so far, where, like I say, my reading, the writing is quite strong. My understanding and correlation is quite strong, but the actual getting it out of my head and formulating the sentence that I can see in my head with the right words in the right order grammatically, that's specifically the bit that I want to train, that I'm missing. Right, that's all from me today. Here we are at 1 o'clock on the 6th of February. We're back, baby. 2026 is going rather well so far. So I'm glad that I'm now in line and we're ready to start in earnest onto the harder stuff, core lesson 2 stuff from Monday, which I'm rather looking forward to. I hope you are too. So with that, I bid you all adieu and hope you all have a great afternoon and a great day wherever you are in the world. Thank you for your support, for joining me here today. That's all from me. So as always, take care, stay safe, keep sane, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.